Hello and welcome to Doubles and Trebles. It's time for another racing edition from us here on the channel. We're looking ahead to the first day of the flat season, which is finally here this Saturday, to the delight of Smido. The jump's officially, well, not completely, but pretty much officially over. We have got the Grand National meeting next month, but it's all about the flat now, and it'll be all about the flat on this channel, with Adam hopefully guiding you in the direction of a few winners over the coming months. Doncaster is where it's all at this weekend. The traditional curtain raiser meeting of the flat season, including the Lincoln, which is a straight mile, ran 22 runners. And Adam's going to set the scene a little bit and tell us a little bit about the Lincoln as a race.
Yeah, cheers, Pie Man. It's basically Christmas Eve in the Smith household with the flat season starting at Doncaster, and we're soon rolling into the really big stuff, which no doubt we'll come on to as well. But with the Lincoln itself, a straight mile handicap at Doncaster, there's plenty of horses that flat fans will be aware of, and there's usually a one Ante Post gamble every year. Well, this year I think the flat boys have got carried away in their excitement and anticipation for the new season, because there's been 3 or 4 gambles in the same race, and it's not it's don't go off until Saturday at 3:10. So yeah, as a result, the top of the market is really quite well established. Which means that we're unlikely to find one that is the wrong price, if you like, at this stage, one at a big price that's not been found in the market. They've all been found. The likes of Hakiki, Eastern World, River Nymph, Groove Ferry, they've all been backed in their own right. Currently, the market has got Eastern World and Hakiki at the top of the market quite well. Quite similar horses, similar profiles, which we'll come on to. They've actually raced together as recently as last September, so they're the ones at the top of the market. The race didn't take place in 2020 for obvious reasons. What was one of the victims of COVID, but the winning SP in the 9 years before that was on average 14.7 to 1, so nearly 15 to 1. So there's certainly some value to be found, hopefully. And just another stat there for your Pie Man: a 4-year-old has won the last 4 renewals, and Hakiki and Eastern World, both mentioned, are 4-year-olds, and that's why they're the head of the market.
Yeah, and I think the latter of the two would be where I would be looking, to be honest. Charlie Appleby trained the winner of this race in 2019 with the 4-year-old, and I think he could do so again with Eastern World. As you say, he's high up in the market. There's been plenty of money around for him, but there's been money around for a few of them. I think this one's with good reason, to be honest. He won a Maidan handicap very easily last month, and looks like he's going to be fit and rhymed, ready for the day. So what would you be leaning towards?
Yeah, I've had a good look at this one, Pine Man. It's not one I would usually get involved in Ante Post. I don't normally do handicaps Ante Post as a rule, but now we've declared, we know the runners and riders, and if you have a bet any time from Thursday afternoon until the race on Saturday and they don't run, you will get your money back, because that means they've been declared. Yeah, King Ottokar is the one that I've landed on there, Pine Man. It's at about 10 to 1 in the market for Charlie Fellows. What you've got to do is find in these big handicaps, and the Lincoln is one such. You've got to find basically a horse that can run to a group race standard, but in a handicap. The top 2 in the market might well fit that bill that we've mentioned, but King Ottokar has already been running in group races, not winning them. That's why he's back down in handicap, but he has run in Group 3s in listed races last year. It didn't quite fall right towards the back end of last year for King Ottokar. He finished 6th and 5th on his last 2 starts. That might not make brilliant reading to someone having a fresh look at this race, but he was unlucky not to go closer in both of those. I'm not saying he would have won those 2 races, but he certainly would have gone closer with a clearer path, particularly at Ascot when he was last seen in October. He stays further than a mile, which I think is key for a race like this. They're going to be on a straight mile. There's going to be no hiding places. They're going to go at a strong pace usually. And King Ottokar has shown in the past that he stays further than a mile. Usually travels quite strongly. Will need a bit of luck in this race with 21 opponents to contend with. But the bottom line is, Pie Man, I think he's better than the 99 rating he's got in the handicap at the moment. There is a little bit of a concern. I spoke to a couple of people this morning. I told them I fancy King Ottokar. Their response was he wants a bit of rain. He wants a bit of softer ground. I don't necessarily agree. Wouldn't necessarily say he's a soft ground horse, but if there's a bit of rain around on Friday in the forecast, which there is, that would certainly be a bonus. But it wouldn't put me off. King Ottokar 10 to 1, 5 places. That's where I'll be going, Pie Man.
Well, he's the right kind of price, isn't he, in that field, I suppose. And, for all these ones, have money around them at the top of the market. only one can win, and you do need a bit of luck in running in a big field. We've seen it many times where there's been horses extremely well backed in these handicaps, and then they don't get the run of the race. You know, a lot can go wrong. So I think nice value selection there is one of interest. The chief support alongside the Lincoln and on the Doncaster card would be the Doncaster Mile, run at 2 o'clock. It's run over the same distance as the Lincoln, but at a slightly higher level. I believe this is a listed race. 11 runners declared, and 5 of them are priced between 3 and 6 to 1. So another tough betting heat at the top of the market, and a bit of value if you look outside it. But where are you looking on this one?
Yeah, pretty open pine, man. And there's only one place I'm looking on this one, and that's Montatham. Really quite like Montatham. William Haggis, James Doyle in the saddle. It's around the 4 or 5 to 1 mark currently. I think that'll be shorter come Saturday at 2 o'clock. It's safe to say that the winner of this race and probably the top 2 or 3 in this race are going to go on to bigger and better things this season. It looks a really nice race and one that I'm certainly looking forward to. I'm going to keep it simple with the top of the market, Pine Man. Bounce the Blues is currently atop the market. It might not stay there, Bounce the Blues, to be fair. Like you say, it's quite open with the betting, but I'm not convinced he truly stays a mile. And like I say, particularly on this straight course, similar to the Lincoln, there's no hiding place. I think there's plenty of pace on. I think Bounce the Blues may get found out. Top Rank is a very good horse, one that I followed last season and managed to leave it alone on the time that it did win. But it carries a £5 penalty, Top Rank, due to winning a recent a Group 3 at the back end of last season, the time that I didn't back him. So as a result of that result, he is now at a slightly lower grade, so carries a penalty for his recent win. So that brings me to Montatham. I just think it's quite straightforward, to be honest. He's been a winner on his first run of the season in 2019 and 2020. That's always something I look out for at this time of year, Pine Man, because sometimes that horses will run in March and April and they won't be 100% peak fitness because there's bigger and better days to be had later in the year. But Montatham has shown that he can win first time out on the last 2 seasons. He was 3 wins and 2 seconds from 6 starts last year, and some of that forms has come in some of the toughest races of all season. The Royal Hunt Cup at Royal Ascot, 23 runner handicap, finished second. Then he's gone to Sandown, the Coral Challenge, another decent handicap, not as many runners, but a well-known handicap. And then one of the hardest races to win at York, the Clipper Logistics handicap over a mile, won that. I mean, there were some brilliant yardsticks in behind him there. So he's shown good form, both winning and coming second throughout the season. And then another tick in the box as well, William Haggis. He's only had 2 runs in the last fortnight. Both of them have won. He's had 2 runners in the last fortnight. Both of them have won. So the yard are clearly in good form at this very, very early stage of the season. But it's another positive. Just looking at Montatham's last run, he ran in the Cambridgeshire. He only went off 11 to 1 that day, which was quite well fancied. There was 27 runners, right? Just so you might look at his last run, Pine Man, and it will say he finished 19th of 27. That doesn't jump out the page to you, and it might not be. It certainly wouldn't be a great start if you was looking at this race. You would think, oh well, why is he 4 to 1? Well, I'll tell you why. There was 27 runners in the Cambridgeshire that day, Pine Man. Another race that I love. 20 of them raced on the near side of the track, and 7 of them raced on the far side of the track alone. Montatham was one of those 7, so he clearly had no chance, as did any of the other 7 on that side, because they was simply raced on the wrong side of the track where the ground on the day was slower. So there was a definite draw bias. The first 12 home in the Cambridgeshire all raced on the near side. Montatham did not. And the first 6 home that day were drawn in stalls 25, 27, 24, 16, 29 and 23. Do you get my point, Pine Man?
So we could put a line through that run,
we can put a line through that one. So what I'm saying is Montatham last year was one of the most consistent handicappers over a mile. He's still on a workable mark. I think he's racing off 109. Sorry, this is not a handicap, but that would, he's, as a result of being consistent last year in the top handicaps, is now rated 109, which is too high for handicaps itself. So he finds himself in this listed event, and he would be the nap of the day, Pine Man. 4 to 1, I think, is a stonking bet.
Very, very strong case made there for Montatham, and I got a feeling he may feature in the double and the treble as we rock towards this video's conclusion. But we still got a little bit more action to cover. Another one off the Doncaster card, the Camage Trophy. This is run over 6 furlongs and has a very familiar name at the top of the betting, or towards the top of the betting, in the form of Brando. 9 years old now. Tell us a little bit more about this one.
Well, Brando has danced every dance from this listed level up to Group 1. I mean, he raced in a Group 1 on his penultimate start last season, so he's been a veteran, absolute veteran of the sprinting game. But I mean, he's 11-4 in this 11-runner race. His favourite currently, but I don't think he'll be favourite come 3:45 on Saturday. I wouldn't be surprised if he was not favourite at the off. I just can't be having Brando, to be honest, Pine Man, because he had 8 starts in 2020 and fluffed the start on all 8 occasions. So if in a 6 furlong sprint and you're giving 2, 3, 4, even more on some occasion lengths to your rivals, that's not good. And yeah, at 9, I can't see him really reproducing it. Yeah, I do love the sprinters. There's one here that stands out to me called Summerghand for Dave O'Meara. He's around the 11-2 mark. Now, he is a 7-year-old, and I've just poo-pooed the chances of a 9-year-old, but he's got a couple of years youth on Brando, if you like. He has had 49 runs, so he's what we call well exposed, but he is fit and ready to go, Summerghand. He's had 3 starts in 2021, all on the all-weather. His last 2 starts, both at Wolverhampton, didn't win, but was beaten under a length in total in those races. He was beaten a neck in one of them and 3/4 of a length in the other. Interesting. Like I say, he's had 49 starts. On Racing Post ratings, which I use quite a lot, I think they're reliable. 2 of Summerghand's best 3 career runs have come on his 2 most recent starts. 2 starts that he didn't win. So Wolverhampton and Wolverhampton again in March alone, he's got a Racing Post rating of 114. His best Racing Post rating, I think, is 117. So, like I say, 2 of his best 3 career runs have come in the last month. He's had 49 runs. He's obviously still got it, still in form. Yes, that is on the all-weather, but we can. They're decent contest in terms of all-weather action. Like I say, Summerghand's 11-2. He would be my idea of the winner here, but not quite as confident as the earlier selection in Montatham.
So there you are, Summerghand 11-2. Can certainly see the case for it, and Dave O'Meara very capable already in 1. So a lot to like about that one. Just before we wrap up and provide the double and the treble, which I'm sure nobody is particularly bothered about, but hopefully we can bang a couple in and then maybe build a little bit of hype around that. But we should probably just give a quick mention to the Dubai World Cup night at Meydan coming this Saturday. It's the richest race day in the world in terms of total prize money, but half the race is obviously on a dirt surface. There'll be a lot of runners coming from all over the globe, international runners. Can be quite hard to assess the form, obviously, in that kind of thing. And just with the context and with the Doncaster meeting going on, I don't think we're going to have any sort of solid selections to put up there. But that'll be a good night's racing, Adam.
Yeah, all I would say on that is look out for the Japanese runners. I just think they're underestimated in markets, particularly at this meeting. Potentially at the ARC meeting in October, but that's completely different kettle of fish. But yeah, just look out for the Japanese runners. I've got no real handle on the Meydan form this year. There's plenty of international runners, so I'd only be guessing at the American form. But there's a lot of runners from the UK that racing fans will be aware of and know. So it's definitely well worth tuning in to watch. I would probably say from a UK perspective, the likes of Space Blues would be the headline act.
Yeah, and if you are going to plan to give that a watch, or you have any selections for that matter at Doncaster or Meydan, do drop us a line in the comments, or you can find us on Twitter at @doubles_trebles_. And with that in mind, I'm going to ask you for what your double and treble is of the weekend. I think we already know a couple of the selections.
Yeah, so the nap's going to be Montatham. That's in the 2 o'clock at Doncaster. To make the double, I would put Summerghand alongside Montatham. Summerghand's in the 3:45. He's 11-2. And then to make it an each-way treble, I would add in King Ottokar in the main event, the Lincoln Handicap at 3:10. We'll put those in the description and on Twitter as well as Pieman mentions.
Are we going win only on the double?
So we'll win only on the double, and we're going to be each way on the treble. And there is what they call a consolation race for the Lincoln, which we won't really get into, but is a race very similar to the Lincoln for horses that didn't quite make the grade. There will be a selection for that, but it will be on our Twitter possibly on Friday night.
Yeah, well, I think that just about wraps it up. Obviously, that's all your Saturday main racing action covered. If you've got any fancies or any questions, do drop us a line in the comments. You can always contact us on Twitter, and there'll be plenty more where this came from. So do keep tuned. If you enjoyed it, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and there'll be plenty more racing content coming your way soon. Thanks very much.
Cheers.